ओम नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित सुख स्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. Respected Swami Adhyatmanand Ji, respected Mr. Parikh, dear friends, it's always a pleasure to talk to the enlightened audience of AMA. And today's topic is very interesting. Reinventing Swami Vivekananda's Chicago addresses delivered 125 years ago. Just as you may be aware, at present 125th anniversary of Swami Vivekananda's Chicago addresses is going on. It has started from 11th September 2018 and will continue till 27th September 2019. That is as per the indications of the headquarters of Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission, but not only by Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission, but various organizations are observing this celebration, not only in India but also abroad. That very thing says, why do we want to reinvent Chicago addresses? We can understand celebrating centenary or 125 years of somebody's birth, but what is the relevance of celebrating 125th anniversary of some addresses which are delivered 125 years? So I will point out to you. Similar question was asked to the Director General of UNESCO when UNESCO was observing the centenary of Swami Vivekananda's Chicago addresses on 8th October 1993 at its headquarters in Paris, and this question was asked, what is the relevance of celebrating Swami Vivekananda's Chicago address delivered 100 years back? Then he replied, UNESCO is the right platform to celebrate this one, because whatever values for which UNESCO is standing, it is these values that he talked about in as back as 1893, and when he talked about it, the ideas were very relevant. Now the ideas are much more relevant in the present scenario when he talked about fanaticism. Now, but that time there was no terrorism in the name of religion, and now it is advanced. We are going back. It is at this time we require the message given by Swami Vivekananda more than ever. At that time, Federico Mayer had said, I was indeed struck by the constitution drawn up by Swami Vivekananda in 1897 with that of the constitution drawn up by UNESCO in 1945. Whatever we were talking about, we talked about in 1945, Swamiji was talking about it in 1897. What a visionary he was. In fact, he had made a rule, Swami Vivekananda made a rule. And not only a monastic member, even a lay member becoming a member of Ramakrishna Mission has to give a declaration in writing that I will respect all religions. At that time he was so visionary. So whatever values about which he talked are very relevant, and that is why whenever any book comes out, the 100 greatest speeches of the world in the world history, invariably you will find Swamiji's address given on 11th September 1893. Whether just now I had gone outside and I was at the Bombay airport, I saw a book, and there I saw the book is 100 greatest speeches of India, and the first two speeches on the front are Gita's summary of Gita, and second is Swamiji's Chicago address. So everywhere, whenever any collection is made of the greatest speeches of the world in the history, the speech given by Swami Vivekananda invariably finds a place. That itself shows what is its relevance. when Prime Minister of Japan, Kobe came many years back, he came to India, he addressed the joint session of the Parliament, and there he referred to the address of Swami Vivekananda, two addresses. First address delivered on the first day, that is on 11th September 1893, and he also referred to the last address on the last day that he delivered on 27th September, final address. He referred to both these addresses and quoted verbatim and told, today the world needs these messages that Swami Vivekananda delivered 125 years back. When President Barack Obama came from America for the first visit, he also addressed the joint session of the Parliament, and he said, I am very proud to belong to Chicago because I am coming from Chicago. It is in my Chicago that Swami Vivekananda, he could not utter his name properly, Swami Vivekananda delivered his speeches in Parliament of Religions. I belong to that Chicago. So he says, I take pride that I belong to Chicago where Swami Vivekananda delivered speeches. So wherever you find, so many historians have given that message, that Swami Vivekananda's message that he delivered in the Parliament of Religions is very, very relevant. And that is why we are reinventing them in the context of the present scenario. And that is why the 125th anniversary is being celebrated. And you will be glad to know that 11th September 2018, this 125th anniversary started, and it started in various places. Illinois State, where this Chicago comes, Illinois State declared 11th September as Swami Vivekananda Day. We have, in India it will take time. But already Illinois government has decided 11th September Swami Vivekananda Day. And because, as you know, the first Parliament of Religions that was held in 1893 had a great impact, but for various reasons, the committee of that Parliament of World Religions was dissolved and there was no further progress on that. That was the first biggest experiment on interfaith harmony. In 1993, it was thought that Swami Vivekananda's Chicago addresses centenary should be celebrated, and the idea came that why not have a Parliament of World Religion in the lines of first Parliament of Religion, 1893. And so the committee was formed, and whatever committee members who had died, but what their office and everything was continued, and that committee was reconstituted, and the same World Parliament of Religion now organized another Parliament of World Religion in 1993 in Chicago. Only they changed the name from World's Parliament of Religions to the Parliament of World's Religion. They made a slight change. So the Parliament of World's Religion, that is the second Parliament, was held in Chicago in 1993, and there it met with such a grand success that it was thought that every 5 years this Parliament should be observed. And so it went on. The sixth Parliament of World Religion was held in Salt Lake City in USA, and I had the great privilege to go there and address the gathering. About 10,000 delegates from 120 countries of belonging to 200 faiths. Similarly, the seventh Parliament of World Religion was held in Toronto, and that was held from 1 to 7 November. And that time, because the Diwali was coming, so the Canadian government was so happy that the Parliament of World Religion has come, they declared November month as Indian Heritage Month, the November month. And the convention center where the Parliament of World Religions were being held, there on 2nd November they held Diwali celebration. inside the convention hall, for the first time, the Parliament of World Religion had Diwali celebration inside the convention center. There was an image of goddess Lakshmi. There was Vedic mantrochar, Vedic chanting, and the representatives of various religious places of whole of Toronto were invited. There were many Americans and from various countries. Of course, it was not a plenary session. So plenary session, there were 10,000 delegates from 110 countries and 200 faiths. But it was a very big hall, and most of them were non-Indians, and they were enjoying the Diwali celebration. And at that time, I was told to give the keynote address on Hinduism and Swami Vivekananda, where I told that we have advanced to a great extent. At that time, Swami Vivekananda was not allowed to be a speaker. We will go through that historical event. He was not allowed. Only on 10th September, his name was included. He was told that the time is already over and you don't have any credentials. And really, Swami Vivekananda did not have any credentials. He did not go as a representative of Hinduism. He talked about Hinduism, but he did not go as a representative of Hinduism. In fact, when he told that I want to go to Chicago Parliament of Religions for preaching Hinduism, for delivering speech on Hinduism, the Pandits of Pondicherry, they were very, very furious, and with their long shikha, long tufts, they started moving their heads. Kadapina, kadapina, kadapina. You can never go, you can never go, you can never go. Swamiji asked, why I can't go? The reason is very simple, logic is very simple. In our scriptures it is told that if you cross the ocean, you will no longer be Hindu. Then how can you talk on Hinduism? Simple logic. So, Swami Vivekananda had not gone as a representative of Hinduism. He went himself, being guided by the God. It was a divine plan. And what a wonderful divine plan it was. I will come to that. But here, only to tell you in the beginning that this reinventing Swami Vivekananda Chicago addresses is very, very necessary. It is being realized by all the people all over the world. And that is why in the 7th Parliament that it was told, even 5 years is long, is a big gap. We should have every 2 years. And we should have it in various countries, spread over. These ideas of Swami Vivekananda on harmony of religions are very, very important. On 11th September, Swami Vivekananda has told, we do not believe only in toleration, but we accept all religions as equally true. And he said how we have cherished in our bosom the people coming from various religions, and we have given shelter to them, whether they are Parsis, whether they are Israelites, all from various countries they have come, and we have given shelter to them. We have built churches for them, we have built mosques for them. We have built their religious places without interfering with their religious feeling. But we do not believe in only toleration. We accept all religions as equally true. Toleration means what? When you are going by train and you are in the reserved compartment, and a group of 10 to 12 people who are daily passengers, they enter the compartment, they sit down in your seat, and you say, hey, this is a reserved compartment. तो क्या तुम्हारे बाप की ट्रेन है क्या? You tolerate that. Next station they will get down. They are 10 or 12. No use fighting with them. You tolerate. That is tolerance. Swami Vivekananda says we do not tolerate. We accept heartily all the religions. Because in the Vedas it has been told, Ekam Sadvipra Bahuda Vadanti. This multiplicity, plurality of religions, plurality of faiths is an inbuilt component of our Indian culture, Indian spiritual culture. And that is why Swami Vivekananda was popular, not just because of his dress, not just because he was only 30 years old and he was very attractive and handsome, not just because he had a very beautiful delivery. No, because he talked about harmony of religions. So, in his first address on 11th September, he says, sectarianism, bigotry, and its horrible descendant fanaticism have long possessed this beautiful earth. They have filled the earth with violence, drenched it often and often with human blood, sent civilizations to despair, destroyed civilization, sent whole nations to despair. Had it not been for these horrible demons, our human society would have been far more advanced than it is now. But their time is come, and I fervently hope that the bell that tolled this morning in the honor of this convention may be the death knell of all fanaticism, of all persecution, whether with the sword or whether with the pen, and of all uncharitable feelings between persons wending their way to the same goal. This was the last paragraph of his speech. But unfortunately, his hope was not fulfilled. He told this on 11 September 1893. Mind you, that was also 9/11. And we did not listen to his message of harmony of religions. There was another 9/11. And you know, the world tower broke. It was as a result of fanaticism. Those who were sitting in the aeroplane trying to strike at the world tower, they were thinking they were doing some great work, and they are going straight, after death they will go straight to heaven for this act of fanaticism. Just imagine, Swami Vivekananda talked about fanaticism. He warned that we will have to pay very heavy price for fanaticism, and that is still continuing. And that 9/11 happened. Last year I was there in New York. I saw the place is still ground zero.
Yes.
The place that both the towers have gone, there is a pool of water. Of course, a Millennium Tower has come by the side, but that particular place, those two towers are gone forever. Because there are two parties sitting in front of they are each other, against each other. Some people say the tower should be built, some should not be built, and it is still going on. Even today, fanaticism is still more there in a very, very wretched form. Much more wretched form than it was at the time of Swami Vivekananda. And that is why we must reinvent Swami Vivekananda's message. We must reinvent the Chicago addresses that he gave. Particularly, two addresses are very important. The first day, he talked about this harmony of religions and the evil effect of fanaticism. And the last day, he told about when everything was over, he says, if the parliament of religion has shown anything, it has proved to the world that holiness, purity and charity are not the exclusive possessions of any single church in the world. And every system has produced men and women of most exalted character. In the face of this evidence, if anyone thinks of the dreams of the survival of his own religion and destruction of all other religions, I pity him from the bottom of my heart. And I say, soon on the banner of every religion will be written, in spite of the resistance, help and not fight, assimilation and not destruction, harmony and peace and not dissension. These are the last words on the 27th September. Do we not need it? As on today also we do. We need very much. Samuel P. Huntington has written a book. The name of the book is The Clash of Civilizations and Remaking of a World Order, in which he says he has given the statistics how during past 50 years most of the wars about which we are unaware, small fights that are going on in the various parts of the world, they are all not wars between countries. They are clashes of civilizations. They are clashes between particularly two religions, Islam and Christianity, 75% of the time. It is not outside we think it is the nations that are fighting. Inside, if you go deep into the problem, it is the fanaticism that is working. So, it is at this stage when fanaticism has again risen to its still uglier form, it is at this time that we must reinvent the Chicago addresses. So this is the one point that we must address at this juncture, when all over the world, if we want world peace cannot come. Globalization has come, but there is no global peace. Global peace can only come when there is a global civilization. And this global civilization cannot come till we say goodbye to fanaticism in the name of religion. And that is exactly what was told by Swami Vivekananda, the great global leader at the time. So we must reinvent Swami Vivekananda's Chicago addresses. Secondly, another message that Swami Vivekananda gave was the message of divinity. Swami Vivekananda total delivered 6 addresses in the World Parliament of Religions. First on 11th September, and then he delivered on 18th September, why we disagree. 19th September, very important, he read out the paper on Hinduism, and then again he talked about Buddhism on 26th, and 27th was the last lecture, that was the farewell address. Now apart from this, he spoke in various auxiliary sessions because he became very popular, and there were auxiliary sessions and all that. But these 2 lectures, first lecture and the last lecture, important from the point of view is that he talked about the harmony of religions. And on the paper on Hinduism, the idea that he brought forth was the message of divinity, where he quoted from Shveta Upanishad, Shurvantu Vishve Amritasya Putra Aye Dhamani Divyani Tastu Vedahametam Purusham Mahantam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat Tameva Viditvat Mrityabeti Nanya Pantha Vidyatayanaya. I have found the ancient one who is beyond all miseries. By knowing him alone, you shall be free from all miseries. And then he said, brethren, let me call you by this sweet name, Amritasya Putra. Ye, the children of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings. Ye, divinities are not sinners. It is a sin to call a man so. It is a standing liable on human nature. Come up, O lions, and shake off the delusion that we are sheep. Your souls immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. You are not matter, you are not bodies. Matter is the servant, not ye the servant of matter. That is the message of divinity, he said. Vedanta does not recognize sin, it recognizes error. And the greatest error you are making when you call yourself weak, when you call yourself sinner. No, Vedanta does not recognize sin. Now that came as a great relief to the Americans who have been taught to think themselves as sinners. But Swami Vivekananda said, no, we don't take you as sinners. You are all Amritasya Putra. You are the children of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings. That came as a great peace, a great solace for them. And that is why this nectar of Vedanta was given at that time by Swami Vivekananda. And that is why they liked Swami Vivekananda, that he came as a sort of a messenger of hope, a messenger of giving them salvation, but telling them their true nature. And he continued to be there in America for 3.5 years, preaching this message of divinity. And everywhere he will say, no, you are divine, you are divine. This is the message that he gave. One day he was talking on this divinity of the soul. An American lady stood up and said, Swami, you are trying to hypnotize us. Always saying, you are divine, you are divine, you are divine. Swamiji stood up and said, Madam, I am not trying to hypnotize you. I am trying to dehypnotize you. Already you are hypnotized by thinking, I am sinner, I am sinner, I am sinner. I am not hypnotizing you, I am dehypnotizing you. Why? Because you are divine, that is the first truth. You are divine, that is the second truth. You are divine, that is the third truth. You are divine, that is the last truth. There is no truth greater than this in this world. You are divine, Amritasya Putra. That is the real nature of every human being, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality. That message of strength, that message of hope was given by Swami Vivekananda, which we needed today all over the world, much more so in India, when our youngsters are committing suicide. They are becoming schizophrenic. They have lost hopes in themselves. Small problem and they just try to commit suicide. Small problem and they become prey of depression. They become prey of schizophrenia. It is at this time we require the message given by Swami Vivekananda, the message of divinity that he gave in the Parliament World Religion on 19th September 1893. We require more than ever. That is the Eleanor Stark. She has written a book. The name of the book is The Gift Unopened, where she says our American youths are suffering and they are going for, they are becoming schizophrenic, they are going for committing suicide, they are becoming dirty. Why? You know, because Swami Vivekananda came to this country. He gave us very good gift, but unfortunately the gift remains unopened. It is in America that Swami Vivekananda gave addresses on harmony of 4 yogas, Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga. All these lectures he has not given in India. In India only say awake, awake, awake. And he just took a hunter and went on giving shots. Awake. And enough of sleep. For 1000 years been sleeping. There he did not give them the teachings on yoga. Just tell, Rajogun is required. Get up, get up. Arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached. In India he preached that. But in America he gave these 4 yogas. He delivered lectures. But Eleanor Stark says, it is Swami Vivekananda who gave these lectures here, but we have forgotten. Columbus discovered the soil of America, but Vivekananda discovered the soul of America. And he discovered the soul. He told how the soul can be strengthened, gave the message of harmony of 4 yogas, but unfortunately he has given the gift, but the gift remains unopened. It is the right time after 125 years, let us open that gift. This gift is in the form of Chicago addresses. Let us open that. The message of divinity, we require it more than ever in the present scenario. And that is why we must reinvent Chicago addresses. So, Chicago addresses, these are the 2 basic fundamental principles, though he told so many other things also. But these 2 things, world peace, global peace, that will come from global civilization, that will only come when we say goodbye to fanaticism. And second thing is the inner peace. Each and every person now, everybody is under stress. Yesterday I talked to the SBI officers, stress management. Now the only topic they want us to speak is on stress management. Everybody is under tension. From the small children to the elderly people, men, women, whether rich, whether poor, all are under tension. Not only in India, all over the world. So stress management has become very important. It is at this time we need this message of divinity given by Swami Vivekananda in the Chicago Parliamentary Regions. So what we want is inner peace. If we want inner peace, we have to go to Swami Vivekananda Chicago Address. We want world peace, we have to go to Chicago Addresses of Swami Vivekananda. So we want to reinvent the Chicago Addresses of Swami Vivekananda. So now I will just try to give the brief history of this Chicago Addresses. Let us start. Swami Vivekananda says, Sri Ramakrishna's life, his Guru's life, was itself parliament of world religion. He practiced various religions, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, and then came to the conclusion that all religions lead to the same goal. So he said, Joto Mot, Tato Path, as many faiths, so many paths. And people from all denominations, from all types of faiths, from within Hinduism and also from various other faiths, Sikhism, Islam, Christianity, they all used to come to him for guidance, and he used to give them love and guidance. So his life itself was a parliamentary religion. So it was a divine plan. This parliamentary religion addresses, these Swamiji's Chicago addresses are a part of a very big divine plan. Sri Ramakrishna came here to re-establish religion as per the promise given by Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyam, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya duskritam, dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. O Arjuna, whenever there is decline in religion, in righteousness, I come incarnate myself to bring back this religion, to bring back this righteousness, and to remove these wrong values, and to protect the right-minded people and to kill the wrong-minded people. He said this one. This is the beautiful thing about the Sanatan Dharma, about the eternal religion that is in India. You see, when you go to the computer, problem is sometimes virus comes up. So you must put antivirus system. Otherwise, sometimes the computers may get hanged and they may remove the data there will be a lot of problems. So what we should do? We should have an antivirus system in our computers. Now, in Hinduism, in Sanatan Dharma, eternal religion it is called, there is an inbuilt antivirus system. Whenever there is a decline in religion, immediately an incarnation comes. And so, one who came in Rama, who came as Krishna, came in the form of Ram Krishna. जो राम थे, जो कृष्ण थे, आए इस बार राम कृष्ण के रूप में. He brought with him Swami Vivekananda because he was too sattvic a man. He practiced all religions by turn and came to the conclusion all religions lead to the same goal. Now, this message should be broadcasted. Who was the mouthpiece? Speaker? Loudspeaker? Swami Vivekananda. He was the loudspeaker. But Sri Ramakrishna lived the life. Loudspeaker was Swami Vivekananda. So, we find under Panchavati, Swami Vivekananda practicing all religions. Panchavati became, that was the first parliament of religion that was held there. The real part, before it took in Chicago, it was there in Dakshineshwar in Calcutta. And then Sri Ramakrishna was shifted to Kashipur, Garden House. As you know, he had a cancer in the throat. At that time, Swami Vivekananda was college student Narendranath Dutt. He told Sri Ramakrishna, you see, whatever you want to do, please do something to me. You must give me something. You must give me something. Sri Ramakrishna said, what type of person you are? I am suffering so much and you are after me and you are troubling me. He said, I am troubling you only because you are suffering. Because the doctors have diagnosed it as cancer and you are not going to live long. So before you die, you give me something, whatever you want to give. Then Sri Ram, okay, you let me know. What do you want? Then Swami Vivekananda said, Narendranath said, well, I want to remain immersed in samadhi, like Shukdeva. Always remain immersed in samadhi. With that bliss, I will have the bliss of samadhi. Now and then my mind will come to the body and then he will something and then again samadhi, like Shukdeva. Just imagine, samadhi is the highest state of spiritual experience. Any other guru would have been very happy. But here is a very unique type of guru, Sri Ramakrishna. He said, what? Fie on you. You are talking like a fool. I thought you will be like a big banyan tree under whose shelter thousands of people will get peace of mind. You are talking, you are selfish. You are talking about only your bliss, your only happiness, your only samadhi. Do you know? There is please come here, there is a chairs. Please come. Don't you know? आइए जल्दी से आ जाइए. Don't worry. So, Sri Ramakrishna said, don't you know, there is a state higher than this samadhi? It is you who sing that song. There was a favorite song of Swami Vivekananda and both Sri Ramakrishna. Both of them used to like one song which was, whenever Swami Vivekananda would come, he was a great singer. Sri Ramakrishna was also a great singer. And then he will say, Naren, please sing. And then Naren will sing. Then say, I'm going. No, not before you have sung that song. What was that song? The song written by last Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. तुझसे हमने दिल को लगाया, जो कुछ है सो तू ही है, एक तुझको अपना पाया, जो कुछ है सो तू ही. Everywhere, O Lord, you are present. So, the Lord who is transcendental reality, that Lord is the same immanent reality. Ishavasam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Sarvam khalu idam brahma. So Sri Ramakrishna says, we must also worship the immanent Brahman. And that is why you must work for the mother, for the divine mother. You will have to work hard. You will have to work. Samadhi is also a subtle type of selfishness. No. You have to work for others. Of course, afterwards, Swami Vivekananda said, it may be that I shall find it good to get outside of this body, to cast it off like a disused garment, but I shall not cease to work until the world shall know that it is one with God. That is later on. But beginning, he wanted only samadhi. But Sri Ramakrishna pointed out, no, you have to live for the good of the world, and you have to bring solace and peace and spirituality to thousands of people in the world. You have to become a world leader. Swami Vivekananda says, nothing doing. I am not going to teach. Sri Ramakrishna, he was very almost unlettered, but he knew writing and he was a great artist. So he took a piece of paper in which he wrote down, Jai Radhe Premamayi, Noren Shikhe Dibe, Jokhon Ghure Bahire Haak Debe. Naren will teach the world, not only inside India but outside India. Ghore Bahire Shikhe Debe. And then he also drew the ship by which Swami Vivekananda was to go. At that time, this I am talking about 1886, much before 1893. And he also drew the drawing of the ship by which Naren would go. Naren said, I will not go. Your very bones will work. And he had to go. Afterwards also, when he was wandering here and there, his only idea was to remain immersed in sadhana. But somehow or the other, the destiny brought him out. The great divine plan was working. So Swami Vivekananda started his great journey all over the country in 1890 July, taking the leave from Holy Mother Sharda Devi. Went to Himalayas, first Benares, then Himalayas, Almora. Then came to Rajasthan. And the Maharaja of Khetri, Ajit Singh Ji, became his disciple. And after staying for some time in Rajasthan, from there Khetri came to Jaipur, Ajmer. From Ajmer he took the train to Ahmedabad. And it is a great honor for Gujarat that the maximum time during his Parivrajaka days was spent in Gujarat. And that is what I made a research for 40 years, Swami Vivekananda in Gujarat. And that book was released by Sri Narendra Bhai Modi on 11 January 2014. So there I have given all that. He came first to Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad was the first city. This Ahmedabad, first city visited by him, and he became the guest of Lal Shankar Umesh Shankar Trawadi, who was the sub-judge at that time. From here to Vadwan, then to Limdi. From Limdi he went to Bhavnagar, on to Junagadh, in Porbandar, Dwarka, Somnath, then Mandvi, Bhuj, Narayan Sarovar, Ashapura, and all that. Then last, finally, Palitana, then Nadiyad. Last he came to Baroda, and Baroda, he stayed in the Dilara Muglo as the guest of the then Diwan Manibhai Jashbhai, just now as you heard. And 26 April 1892, Swami Vivekananda writes a letter to Haridas Viharidas Desai, the Diwan of Junagadh at the time. The Diwanji Sahib, your friend Manibhai, took all possible care of me. I have seen Ravi Verma's painting here, I have seen the library here, and today I am leaving for Bombay. That was the end of Gujarat tour. Now when Swami Vivekananda was travelling from first we came to Limdi. It is at Limdi, the Limdi Maharaja, Jaswant Singh Ji, became his ardent follower, and he took mantra diksha from him. He took him as his guru. He became his disciple. And it is he who told for the first time that you must go abroad for preaching Vedanta, because you have got such wonderful knowledge of our scriptures. Of course, he was a progressive-minded ruler, and he had already visited America and England before that. So that was the first Maharaja. Then he was going from Junagadh to Porbandar. It is at Jetalsar railway station, the assistant station master, Hargovindas Ajramar Pandya, who is also known as Mahatma, who is also known as Mota Bhai. Nana Bhai Bhatt is the person who started Dakshinamurti in Bhavnagar, but he also was there as the source of inspiration. But both had jointly done it. This Mota Bhai, Hargovindas Ajramar Pandya, it is he who told Swami Vivekananda. For the first time, Swami Vivekananda came to know about Chicago Parliament religions. Then he reached Porbandar, and Porbandar, Shankar Pandurang Pandit was the administrator, and he was very much amazed at the knowledge of Swami Vivekananda. So he took his help. At the time he was translating Atharvaveda. He took his help in translating Atharvaveda, and then Swamiji also deepened his knowledge about Indian scriptures. Fortunately, he found a very big library, personal library of Shankar Pandurang Pandit, and Shankar Pandurang Pandit said, Swami, nobody will be able to understand your genius here. You ought to go to the West. And when you go to the West, you will need to know French. So I will teach you French. And Swamiji learned French there in Porbandar. And then there was a big library. So he read many books. In fact, all the bombs that he threw in the World Parliament region in Chicago, bombs of thought bombs, and thought bombs of non-violence, thought bombs of universal brotherhood, all these thoughts that bombs that he threw in the world parliament religions, because they were very powerful. That's why I am giving the name bombs. Bombs are always associated with violence. These were the bombs, thought bombs, very powerful, but of non-violence, of harmony of religions. These thought bombs, whatever he gave, whatever he threw there in world parliament religion, that they were all prepared in Porbandar. The whole masala was there in Porbandar, because in that great library of Shankar Pandurang Pandit. So it is in Gujarat that Swami Vivekananda for the first time heard about the parliament religions. It is in Gujarat that he prepared himself, equipped himself with the scriptural knowledge and all the other very great books, that knowledge which he was to share to the world at the time. And from there, from Gujarat, he comes to Maharashtra and then goes to Kanyakumari. There, sitting on the last bit of rock at Kanyakumari, he himself says, I became condensed India. He thought about the problems of India and he thought, I will cross the ocean and bring science and technology from there and alleviate the sufferings of poor people that he had seen with his own eyes, how the people were suffering. But I will not go as a beggar. In exchange, I will give the nectar of Vedanta there. So there, his ideas of going to the West became more and more concretized. Then he came back to Madras, and the Madras disciples, they told, no, you must go to the parliament religions. But Swamiji was not sure whether it is a divine plan or it is my plan. So he was waiting. Then they collected some money, which was very small amount, so that was distributed among the children of the fishermen. But this young man of Alasinga Perumal and other friends, they started again collecting the fund. Now Swami Vivekananda was in two minds. Then he had a vision in which he saw Sri Ramakrishna was crossing the ocean and telling Naren, come. So he thought Sri Ramakrishna wants, it is the divine plan that I should cross the ocean and go to the West and attend the parliament religion. Still he was not getting 100% assurance. So he wrote a letter to Holy Mother Sharda Devi that I want to go abroad, crossing the ocean. No mother would go. No mother would give permission. At that time, Kala Pani, gaya fir wapas nahi aayega. No mother would give permission for going abroad. That was the condition at the time. So he thought Holy Mother Sharda Devi at least will say, no, beta mat jao. So when the letter came, Holy Mother said, no, let me think over. At night, she had the same vision that Swami Vivekananda had. That is, Sri Ramakrishna crossing the ocean and telling Naren to come. So the Holy Mother Sharda Devi wrote, yes, beta, my dear boy Naren, you must go to the West and you will be successful. I am sending my blessings. When Swami Vivekananda received this letter, he took the letter on his head and started dancing. That was in Madras. Oh, maa ki permission aa gayi. Mother has given permission, now I will go. So it is after a long struggle that he decided, though the Pandits of the Pondicherry and other people from Hinduism had told, no, you cannot go because you cannot cross the ocean. He himself had some misgivings whether I should go or not, whether it is divine plan or not. In fact, where he was staying, some people said, last night with whom you were talking? He did not disclose anything. Afterwards he disclosed that discussions were going on with Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was trying to convince him, you must go to the West, you must cross the ocean, you must go to parliament religion. But Swami Vivekananda was not in a mood to go. Sri Ramakrishna had to argue with him. Whole night they were arguing. This is what afterwards Swami Vivekananda had revealed to his Guru by brother disciples. Whatever it is. Now everything set up, the ticket was purchased, and Raja Ramnath had told, I will give money, but he could not give because he was under pressure from British government. Mysore Maharaja had told, but he also could not give. Anyway, the young disciples, they collected the amount. It was just bare enough, very small amount, enough for the third class passage of the steamer, for going. For coming, for returning, there is no money. But that much amount they collected. Then Khetri Maharaja, he had a son and he thought it is because of the blessings of Swami Vivekananda. So he sent Jagmohan Lal, Munshi Jagmohan Lal, Diwan, you go and fetch him. So he came to Madras and told Swamiji, you have to come to Khetri. I said, I am leaving for America and I don't have time to prepare. He said, no, you must come. Then finally he had to go to Khetri, and Maharaja Khetri sent Jagmohan Lal, you must see him off in Bombay. and told him to prepare nice dress. You know, that dress that is very attractive dress that you are seeing. It is more of a prince, because Khetri Maharaja said, my Guru, I am a prince and my Guru should also go in a princely dress. So he prepared a princely dress for him. That is why in America many people mistook him for a prince rather than a monk. They used to say, the Raja Vivekanand, they said, newspapers they said, Raja Vivekanand. They used to say. And then this turban also. So Raja Ajit Singh Ji said he used to wear a turban, so he prepared his for also turban for him. Otherwise turban was not that usual dress. So he prepared that dress for him, like a prince he get. And then he converted the ticket from third class to first class. He said, no. Swamiji said, no, I am a monk, I should go in third class. No. You may be a monk, but you are my Guru. So you are Guru of a king, and the Guru of king should go like a king. So he converted it into first class ticket. That is why now you understand why Jamshedji Tata had a meeting with Swami Vivekananda, because both were traveling from Japan to Chicago in the same ship, Empress of India. Both were having first class ticket, and that is how Swami Vivekananda had a lot of discussion with Jamshedji Tata. You know, actually this Parliament of Religions was held as a part of the Columbian Exposition, 400 years of discovery of America by Columbus. So to commemorate that one, there was a big industrial exhibition, and it was a exposition, Columbian Exposition, and as a part of that there was industrial exhibition, and there was, as a part of that only this Parliament of Religions was organized. That also, it was an afterthought. Previously it was not there. Previously it was only industrial. But then one of the lawyers, he thought that no, we must have this Parliament of World Religion also, a novel idea. So he shared with this one, and he made John Henry Barrows the chairman of that general committee, and so that is how it came as a later on. So Jamshedji Tata was going for the industrial exhibition, and then he had a lot of talk with Swami Vivekananda. He said, I will purchase some items and all that. So why do you purchase? Why don't you start industry in India? That will give employment to our people. It is he who told him to start industries. Not only that, he told him to start scientific research institutes, where persons fully dedicated to that cause will be there, who will be also pursuing not only science but also spirituality. And so Jamshedji Tata, when he started this scheme of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, then he wrote a letter to Swami Vivekananda, 23rd November 1898, that you must have undoubtedly heard about the great institution, Indian Institute of Science, that I am going to start, and I know not of a person who can be general of this campaign than Swami Vivekananda. And you must be remembering me as a co-traveler with you from Japan to Chicago, and I request you must write some fiery pamphlets and I will defray all the expenses. A beautiful letter written by Jamshedji Tata. And so Swami Vivekananda then tried his best and put Sister Nivedita on the job, and Sister Nivedita carried that dream forward. Later on in 1913, that Indian Institute of Science came. But all that background was prepared during the voyage for the Parliament of World Religions, when Swami Vivekananda was going and Jamshedji Tata was going for the industrial exposition. So on the way also a lot of things have happened. We cannot go into the details. And then Swami Vivekananda we started on 31st May 1893 from Gateway of India. This year they had a celebration 125th anniversary. I was also invited, so we had garlanded the statue of Swami Vivekananda. Beautiful statue of Swami Vivekananda is there at the Gateway of India in Bombay. So it is from that place that the ship started. So that was 125th anniversary was celebrated just on this 31st May. And then Swami Vivekananda reached in Vancouver on 25th July by ship, and by the end of July he reached Chicago. After reaching Chicago, he went to the office of the Parliament of Religions, and there he was told two things. One, that the Parliament of Religions will be held only in September. Second, nomination for the speakers is over. No more nomination. Third, if at all any speaker has to come, it has to come by recommendation. Some sponsoring is needed. You cannot come by yourself that I want to speak. No. Some organization reputed organization must sponsor you, must recommend. So that also was not there with Swamiji. Now what to do? So first few days he just saw the exhibition, then he found his purse is emptying, getting emptied, and hotels were very costly hotels because the second class hotels will not allow a colored man to live. So only the highest class hotels will allow, and that time Chicago, such a big event, was taking so absorbent rates they were taking. So Swamiji's purse was emptying, he had very less money, and that also was emptying. Now what to do? And then he wrote a letter to his disciples, "You fools, you did not think about all these things, that some letter of recommendation is needed, and you just sent me, and I was also a fool that I also followed you, and I have come. Now I hear there is so much of cold, I don't have clothes." Khitri Maharaja prepared clothes for him, which is very good, at plus 45 degrees Celsius, and there was minus 30 degrees Celsius in Chicago. And the cloths, and there he had no woolen garments. They never thought that there would be so much of cold there. He had no woolen clothes, and then he had no money. He said, "At least you send me the money to go back. Now I don't have the money to go back also." So he was in great dilemma what to do. At that time he remembered that when he was coming from Vancouver to Chicago in the train, he had met Miss Kat Sanborn, a very educated lady, who was very much impressed by the attire of Swamiji, and said, "Swami, you must come to my village. I am staying near Massachusetts, just near Boston, and in a village called Metcalfe. So I will be very happy to lodge you and very happy to host you." Swamiji remembered, oh, there is a provision. Immediately he wrote a very big telegram. He sent a telegram that I want to come. And then without waiting for the reply, he came. And then he came, and then Miss Katzenborn was very happy. So what she would do, she will put Swami Vivekananda on the horse carriage and take the horses all round the village and show them what a curio I have brought from India. And Swamiji had to tolerate all these things because free lodging and boarding, no money. So he had to bear all these things. But one thing happened, see the divine plan. Because that was a summer, so they had gone to the sea beach. And sea beach, all people there, they have got small bungalows on the sea beach. So they went to the sea beach, and by the side in the neighborhood was a professor of Harvard University, Professor John Henry Wright. He was staying there. And so in the night they will have a lot of discussion. At that time, Professor John Henry Wright, when he discovered, "Oh my God, what a knowledge you have got. Your mine of knowledge. So learned." Then he was very much impressed. Then he said, "Swami, you ought to go to the Parliament of Religious. You will be able to make a great impression. You must join the Parliament of Religious." Swamiji, "Well, I had come only for that." But I went there and they are asking for the credentials. Then Professor John Henry said, "Swami, to ask credentials from you is like asking the sun as to what right it has to shine on the earth." And then he himself wrote a letter of recommendation, because the Henry Barrows, the chairman, was known to him. So he wrote a letter to Henry Barrows, the chairman of this parliamentary committee. "Here is a man who is more learned than all our professors put together." And that is how Swami Vivekananda was introduced in the parliamentary religion. And there was a great applause. So even before Swami Vivekananda started speaking that time, that was the introduction. So he took that letter of introduction, Swamiji wrote the letter, and then started now for Chicago. Now, 9th of September, Swami Vivekananda, he got down at the railway station, Chicago railway station. Now on the way, there was a merchant with whom he was discussing that I have to go to the Parliament Religion Committee. So the address was given by Professor John Henry Wright. So that man said, "Let me see the address." So he saw the address. "Oh, I know this place, I will take you." And then he put the slip on his pocket. And Swamiji forgot to take back the slip, and as soon as the train reached the station, that fellow disappeared into thin air. What to do? The address is gone. And he did not remember the address. So he was telling something, and that was an area where people used to speak German, and he was speaking English. They were not able to understand. Now night was approaching, it was too chilly. Whom to ask? He was here and there, nobody is able to tell anything. And it was so chilly that he had to immediately take shelter in a car box. There was a railway freight, there was a railway yard, in that there was a car box, and that car box he somehow took shelter whole night to protect himself from the winter. Next day morning he came out, he was hungry, he had no sleep, he came out, he smelled some water. That was the Michigan Lake. He went towards the Michigan Lake, and then from that was a very posh area, and everywhere he would just call the bell, and he thought like an Indian monk he will go for begging of food, but that was not possible there at that time. Now America has become much more liberal. That time it was not so. So that very typical peculiar dress itself was very much annoying to them, and then it was a Sunday, so all the people had gone to church probably, so even only the servants, and the servant, they just smashed the door on his face. Everywhere he was given, and they used to scold also, give scolding in their own German language. Now Swamiji was traveling, every house he is being given, he is being denied entry, he is being denied food, he is being denied any response, and he became dejected. Then he sat down under a tree, and he told his Guru Sri Ram, well, it is for this you have brought me here. Now I understand. Okay, if you want, I should die here, out of cold, out of hunger, let thy will be done. And then he fully surrendered himself. He sat down there for dying. At that very moment, a window just across the street opened. A lady peeped in, and he saw a man sitting here, a peculiar man from peculiar country, crossed the street and asked the question, are you delegate to the Parliament of World Religion? Then Swamiji said, yes, I came. I came for that. Then she said, then he said, I forgot, I have lost the address. I know. He very near. This Parliament of Religion's office is very near. I know the chairman also. So I'll take you to him. First, come to my house. First, you get yourself freshened, take some food, then I'll take you. Then she took. This is 10th September. 9th September night, Swami Vivekananda is sleeping in a box car in a railway yard, suffering for cold and hunger. 10th September, Mrs. Hell, she was Mrs. Hell, and that Hell family became very, very intimate to Swami Vivekananda. In fact, her house became the almost the headquarters of Swamiji. All the letters used to come to Mrs. Hell all the time. Mr. George W. Hell and Mrs. Hell. And Swamiji had a peculiar, he was a very witty person. Everybody he would give some second name. So Mr. George W. Hell was called by him Father Church, Father Pope, and this Mrs. Hell, Mother Church. That was the new name that she had. And he used to call her mother. And she really became motherly, and she became mother-like, and she provided everything. 10th September, Swami Vivekananda was registered as a speaker just one day early, 10th. And then 10th night he was lodged with a very rich person, rich family, Mr. Lyons and Mrs. Lyons. He was lodged there. 11th September at 10 o'clock, 10 strokes on the clock, on the bell rang, and 10 great religions, the major religions including Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, and all the people were walking. It was a procession, and then they entered the hall, Columbus Hall of the Art Institute of Chicago. They entered, and then only major religions people, the only selected few were given to reply to the address of welcome. Only few selected, and Swami Vivekananda selected because being the representative of Hinduism, major religion. So the chairman said, please, Swamiji said, not now. What happened? Swami Vivekananda had not come prepared, and he never thought there will be 4,000 people and such a big hall. He had never anticipated that such a big, huge thing, and that he had not prepared his speech. All the people were coming and reading out their speeches, and he had not prepared all that. So he was feeling very much nervous. He said afterwards. Now the afternoon session came, and then the chairman said, now if you don't want to speak, then you tell, now this is the last chance. Then Swamiji stood up. Swamiji stood up, came to the podium, and bowed down to Mother Goddess of Learning Saraswati and his Guru Sri Ramakrishna, and whatever came he spoke. So first he spoke, sisters and brothers of America. As soon as he spoke like that, all the 4,000 people, they just got mad. They became wild. They just stood up and started making noise and clapping and clapping and lot of applause. Swamiji was bewildered. What happened? Something wrong. Because he had not expected that type of response. For 2 minutes it lasted. In fact, the Pearl Parliament Religion, the big books have come out. The chairman himself has brought out. There it is told that the applause lasted for a few minutes, not 2 minutes. But Swami Vivekananda himself writes in his letter that it lasted for 2 minutes. Even 2 minutes also is a very, very long time. Can you understand that? On 11th September 2018, we had a youth convention in Rajkot. So I told all the youth, forget that you are sitting in Rajkot, you are in Chicago. Forget that you are sitting in Vivek Hall. There is a Vivek Hall there. It's not Vivek Hall, it is Columbus Hall. And here is Swami Vivekananda's big photograph. And Swami Vivekananda is telling, sisters and brothers of America, and all of you stand up and just go on clapping for 2 minutes. So they all stood up and went on clapping. But they could not go up to 2 minutes. Then they sat down. I said, I am telling you to clap, you are not able to clap 2 minutes. And those people, without anybody's telling, they clapped for 2 minutes. Just imagine what a great that impression was created. What an impact must have been created, where all these great people coming from so many places, these 4,000 people, what a charisma, what a magical influence of Swami Vivekananda. In fact, he was nervous that what he will speak. Now 2 minutes gone only in clapping. Now only left 3 minutes. All were given 5 minutes. 2 minutes gone for clapping, sisters and brothers of America, and now only 3 minutes. Within these 3 minutes, he spoke only 467 words. Not even 500 words. 467 words he spoke, and that created history. Today we are celebrating 125th anniversary of that 467 words. What a wonderful message that was given by Swami Vivekananda. That is why we are reinventing, because those words did not come from Swami Vivekananda. Their words came from the divine. It was a divine plan, and that, just imagine, on 10th he is suffering from cold and hunger. On 11th September he became the hero, and with that short speech of 3 minutes, he became a hero. Next day, newspapers, very big, on the front page his photographs were there. His life-size photographs were given in the various streets of Chicago that came up, and all the newspapers were agog with so much of appreciation, so much of praise. The New York Herald said that so many great teachers of so many religions have come to the Parliament of World Religion. Thousands of people have come, but the greatest figure in the Parliament of Religions is Swami Vivekananda. That is what the New York Herald wrote. And that second sentence is more important. That writes, after listening to him, we feel how foolish on our part to send missionaries to India. Their religion is so great, rather we should invite missionaries from India. The whole picture turned. When Swami Vivekananda went, at that time, what was the condition? India was looked down as a savage country, a slave country, full of superstitions, no religion. And in the children's book also, so many stories were told with the photographs. One photograph, one mother throwing her child into the river to be eaten by the crocodile. Another mother putting her child into the tree to be eaten by the bird. Another photograph, the people burning the women. And another photograph, people being crushed under the chariot, all those photographs. Oh, it is a savage country. Send the Bible there, send the Bible there. That was the atmosphere when Swamiji went there. And with only 3 minutes speech, tables were turned. Oh, their religion is so great that rather we should invite missionaries from India. He is an orator by divine right, the critic wrote. All the newspaper will go with the things. And then it so happened that the chairman of all the sessions used to keep Swami Vivekananda at the end. Because the people will start going and immediately they will, at the last, Swami Vivekananda is going to speak. For listening to 10 minutes of speech of Swami Vivekananda, they would sit down for hours together. That was the great impression that created by Swami Vivekananda, because it was by divine plan that he had gone. And next day what happened? 11th September he became world famous within one day. On 10th he was suffering, 11th he became a world conquering hero, and he was lodged in a millionaire's house, Mr. and Mrs. Loyan. And then Swamiji could not sleep whole night. He was weeping, and he was not on the bed. He was on the floor and he was weeping whole night. Next day morning when the host saw Mrs. Leon, she became very much perturbed. Swami, is there anything wrong that we have done? You are not on the bed and you are weeping. Have we made anything wrong? Nothing wrong. Only thing, the items are so luxurious, that immediately remember my India. My people do not have even 2 times meals, and here you are having so much of luxury. And I was praying whole night to the Divine Mother, oh Mother, these people are having so much of luxury. When the day will come, when my people will also have some sort of food and sleep like these people. Whole night he was sleeping. He was weeping. Swamiji was weeping on 11th September. 10th he was not able to sleep because of other reasons. 9th, whole night he could not sleep because he won a boxcar. 11th September he became a world hero, and yet he was sleeping, he was weeping because of the plight of his nation for which he had gone there. He continued there for 3.5 years, continued to preach the message of divinity, he continued to give the nectar of Vedanta. But in exchange he wanted some money, little money only, whatever he could get within 3.5 years. He came back in 1897, gave to his brother disciple Swami Brahmananda, and from that small money Ramakrishna Mission, that plot was purchased in Belumat, and that is how Ramakrishna Mission was started. So that this message goes on being spread, it doesn't stop there. So we are trying to carry out this message of the harmony of religions, the message of divinity of mankind, serving humanity irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality. That is how the Ramakrishna is going. At present we have 200 branches all over the world, 50 abroad, 150 in India, out of which 5 are in Gujarat, Rajkot, Limdi, Porbandar, Baroda, and now the 5th one is started in Ahmedabad. On 30th May 2018, we had a big function in which the Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister were there, the General Secretary Maharaj was there, and the private ashrama that was being run here on Vastrapur, just opposite Alpha Mall, that apartment was handed over to Ramakrishna Mutt. And so now an official center of Ramakrishna Mutt has started in Ahmedabad. So all of you can visit just opposite Alpha Mall, Kalyan Tower, 2nd floor. When you go out from here, you'll be getting 2 things. One is the information brochure giving all the details. And now, of course, we have requested the government, and the government has, the CM was there, and CM told that he will try to give some land, but we will have to give 50% market rate. But we are trying to collect donation, and I think by divine plan is going so divine way, we may get some donation. We will have a big land in Ahmedabad, and we will have so many activities just like as we have in various other centers of Gujarat and various other centers outside. So Ahmedabad is the first place that Swami Vivekananda visited in Gujarat, so Ahmedabad must have a center. So I talked about this to Naren Bhai, and he also said yes. And the house that he stayed also, we will try to convert into memorial. All these efforts are going on. We require the support of all of you, and I am sure with your support and with God's wish, the big center of Ramakrishna Mutt Mission will come up. And so you please take the appeal that is given there, and you must please try to visit the center there, a small center now of Ramakrishna Mutt in Ahmedabad, in just opposite Vastrapur. And also we will all be given, because I knew the time is coming and the time is end, and I thought there should be question answer session, but there is no time for now question answer session also. Doesn't matter, I am there. very easy to remember, nikhileswaranand@gmail.com. The spelling is here, nikhileswaranand@gmail.com. You can write to me with your question. And I knew that I will not be able to do justice to the whole. It's a very vast subject. So what I am trying to give is that each and every one of you will be gifted a small copy of small book, Chicago Addresses by Swami Vivekananda. So please, you will get all the details there. You will get all the details there. I am giving you some homework. Read that book. And then afterwards, if you have something to say, you can write to me. I will be very happy to reply to your questions. I am very, very thankful to all of you for giving a very, very concentrated, very nice hearing. You are really a very nice audience. I must appreciate. So, thank you all very much. Thank you.